Alright, welcome everyone. Today we'll be doing another live stream. This time instead of gaming, I'm going to do something a little bit more boring, but I think interesting personally for me, and that's I'm just going to do some good old-fashioned writing. As you guys know me from, what's it? From the Ikigai channel, I am a writer for the studio, or at least I want to be. So this is where I'm going to be upping my skill, upping my prowess and creativity in this case. And it's nice to have a couple onlookers just to see where it's going, search out for any mistakes, or ask questions. So maybe I need to elaborate more, or I don't know. It's just fun to explain things that I really like to do. I mean, that goes for anyone, right? So I'm just gonna go straight into that. But before anything else, what's it? Yeah, okay. Uh, yeah, I guess before anything else, this is just gonna be a relaxing stream. It's gonna be a very short stream. Feel free to put on music. I'm just gonna put on my own. I'm not gonna actually put it on stream because otherwise I'm gonna be copyright. But and I don't want that to happen. But again, it's just gonna be relaxing. I'm gonna be working on the Girls and Panzer script a little bit more, and yeah. Let me just set things up for myself. Yeah, I have a notebook here as well, just in case I need to like write something down out here. Just put down some things. I also have some documents off to the side, because what's it? Because I've actually kind of started a little bit already on the script, but I am not very happy with how it's looking. So I'm gonna look back on that for things like inspiration or how I framed it last time. So and yeah, that's how it's gonna be. I don't know where my other headphones are. Oh, actually, what I could do is just lower the desktop audio and then just listen to music off to the side. I think that works, right? Here, let me try something. So if I do this, I think no. Okay, I'm just testing out to make sure you guys can't hear this. It's non-copyrighted music, so if you do hear it, then I have to unmute. Yeah, okay, you guys shouldn't hear that. So I get to put on my own music, Pog. Unless it's through my mic, which is possible, so I'm just gonna lower my headphones just a little bit. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. Alright, we're going to go straight into this. We're going to call it the Girls. So this is a Girls Appendix script. This is going to be my next one. So always title it. I don't know. It helps keep things focused, you know. This is going to be an analysis on the anglerfish team. The plan I have right now is that I have what's it? I'm gonna do a couple analysis. I'm going to what's it? I'm gonna do a couple of analyses that involve the teams and the schools, and do a comprehensive like look through all of them. So how do I put this? So it's gonna be a series, I should say. And of course, I want to start with some of the most important characters in the show. More might pop up as a result. After all, only Das Final Part 3 has come out so far. So, what's it? Only Das Final Part 3 has come out, so we might see more characters, we might not. Obviously, we have things like the Australian team. We have like a Scandinavian team, I think, if I recall Das Final Part 2. But that's besides the point for now. For now, I'm just focusing on the characters that have a significant amount of screen time or who are basically recurring characters. Or yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Because then that counts the sharks who are technically new but are recurring in each of the films. Okay, whatever. Anyways, point is we're going with anglerfish first. That's Miho's team, for those of you not in the know. And of course, if anyone's watching, this is going to be filled with spoilers, since I'm going to be doing a comprehensive look at Miho, Hana, Reize, Yukari, and Sayori. Now, in my previous... Oh man, I would start writing, but there's a lot to explain in this, even. And it kind of contextualizes everything. And it kind of goes into the mindset of how I write these things. Beforehand, for my original video, I was going to talk about Hana, Reize, Sayori, Yukari, but for the sake of time, I had to cut that out. So essentially, I'm going to put that in here, but I'm going to throw in a few more words, a few more fun things. I'm planning on adding like a sort of interactive fun element, maybe like a who are you kind of quiz, or who you most like, and see how that works. I mean, I gotta use it somewhere, right? I'm gonna be analyzing these characters. I'm breaking them down and deconstructing them. So we're gonna be talking about Miho. We're gonna be talking about Hana. We're gonna be talking about Sayori, Yukari, and Reize. I think I'm gonna, yeah, we'll handle these one at a time, but we'll just leave that now in case we want to add any information on that. Right now, we're not doing the actual analysis; it's just the outline. So, just, I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, we obviously need an introduction, something fun, something flashy, something cool, or maybe just something to just ease a viewer into what we're talking about. After that, we're gonna do. What's it? Anglerfish. We're gonna do an introduction. We're gonna do a basic rundown. That's what it is. So we're gonna talk about their story. We're gonna talk about like bare bones story. So we're gonna like the story / narrative, or I guess in this case the plot, right? That sounds a little bit more succinct as to what we're talking about here. We're gonna talk about each of their characters. Like personality wise, or traits or roles that they fulfill. So roles, traits, what else is there? Characteristics, I guess, just general stuff like that. So because I always like it when people kind of deconstruct those characters and stuff like that. I recently watched a video, I think it's called like Villainpedia GLaDOS, and it would just talk a good, interesting amount of history about GLaDOS, the character, and I don't know, it just seemed really cool. I learned some things, or got to appreciate some details that may seem obvious or weren't obvious at all, and now have been brought to light. That reminds me, actually, speaking of plot lines, I think we're gonna also go through the anime and the manga, right? I think it only makes sense. Now, I get a lot of people talking about like how you should separate the manga and anime. Maybe not a lot of people, but some people certainly belong in that camp. Now, the thing about that is, yes, in a way you should separate the anime and the manga, especially when you're talking about a pure adaptation. But when it comes to my analyses, I'm talking about Girls and Panzer as a sort of, as a whole, as a universe to be talked about. So this is why I like combining both, because I'm talking about both to kind of enhance each other, right? The anime talks about things that the manga doesn't, and the manga talks about things that the anime doesn't. But I think when you look at the two together, it really makes for an interesting world and makes me appreciate the I guess the premise of the show a lot more than I thought I would. So because after all, when we're talking about things like Miho's family issues and stuff like that, that obviously a lot more of that is touched in the manga. Like they literally in the manga say that she's going to be disowned from the Shizumi family, whereas it's kind of hinted at in the anime. So that's what that's why I'm combining both, because then I get, I have a lot more evidence and a lot more stuff to be able to play around with. What else is there? Oh, strengths and weaknesses. I think that's an interesting one to do, right? Like, kind of analyzing like these characters, how their like physical strengths and weaknesses, their mental strengths and weaknesses. Like, for example, right? Miho is just like a really good tactician, or she's really good at going for the unconventional routes, right? The unconventional fun strategies. but she obviously kind of as in what's it? It's not Das Final. It's Der Film strategies. I'm pretty sure I spelled that wrong. Okay. She's not very good at like general like meta quote unquote strats. She always goes for jank. I guess is the term colloquially known by fellow gamers. Oh dear. But yeah, that's like an example. But then this goes into things like not only just Miho, right? We go into Hana, Sayori, Yukari, Reize, and by looking at those strengths and weaknesses, we can see the character as a whole, or at least in an interesting way, in an engaging way, I should say. I want to point out, like with stuff I talked about on the podcast or in my analysis, and I briefly mentioned this in my analysis, I should say. Strengths and weaknesses of shows or characters or people, right? That doesn't constitute the whole being. And I don't want to encourage that, even though I am using that in my analysis. I'm mostly using it as a fun, kind of engaging thing to talk about, rather than something to like, oh, you should look at strengths and weaknesses, right? Like, again, Girls of Panzer has a bunch of strengths and weaknesses, but as an anime, but and for what it's trying to say and all that, but I just don't. That obviously does not show off the feelings and the complex inner workings of what this show is, right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. But in any case, I guess that will be the basic rundown. After that, though, we'll go into the true analysis, right? Let me make sure I have this in my right notes, because I want to follow a similar structure that I did last time. Oh, I had a fun title too for my first draft. It was Lighting the Way. I think I'll keep that. Anglerfish, Lighting the Way. It makes like, it's like an interesting take on the idea of an anglerfish, right? And it's literally what like Miho and the gang do. They're kind of beacons for the people of Ori and for the Sunshadow world to either follow into, I guess, a trap in some ways, but also to show off the inner workings of like that deep ideas that both Sunshadow and anime wants to get into. And that is a crazy thing I just said. I'm gonna write that down somewhere. Lighting the Way. So that could be interpreted as, what's it? That could be interpreted as like luring into a trap, or a like, or in this case a mentality, or in another way it's showing off the beauty of exploration and I guess just especially with the image of the anglerfish, right? The image of the team's logo. It's like simplifying what an anglerfish is, right? Because we all know what an anglerfish looks like. Here, let me see if I can, without like screwing up the thing. It's anglerfish. Like, this is what we're looking at right now. Like, you see this? This is these things are anglerfish. But then you look at the Girls of Panzer one, right? And it's like this cute blob. So it's like, I think it definitely like makes it more simple and kind of is either masking or like maybe not masking. I mean, I'll throw that in. Is it like masking something? But I think it's also just like showcasing, like, yeah, like an anglerfish looks scary, but this is what it really is. It's a fish that uses a light to lure in things. But in any case, so I like that as an idea for analysis. What else did I have for ideas though? we're going to split this off into a few sections: the brief overview, how the show presents them, cute references or info about them. Oh, I should do that too. That's for the rundown. Oh, and their dynamics, yeah. Dynamics might be a little hard to talk about though. But dynamics question mark. So that'll be a little interesting to talk about. But then we're going to what they represent, right? So themes, narrative importance, and production, discussion on characters. So this is also going to require a lot of research that I haven't done quite yet. Because these things do take research. I just want to point that out. Because it's nice and all to have your own interpretation, but it's also nice to be able to back that up with what the creators are going, and that goes into a little bit of auteurism, or authorship. Here, I'll put this in. I think that's what it is. Yeah, there we go, authorship, and it what's it? It's a little oh man, I'm losing myself right now. It focuses on people who make the show or make a narrative, right? And it hyper focuses on them somewhat. It's oversimplifying it a little bit, but that's what it basically is. In analysis, sometimes you want to avoid that unless you're specifically talking about them, because again, it's up to your interpretation. You shouldn't like be too influenced by what the authors are saying too much, because you want to kind of discover what you feel rather than kind of like be biased towards what the author is saying and be limited in that sense, which makes sense, right? You don't want to be bogged down by artists' rules or creators' rules or whatever, right? In artistic mediums, you don't necessarily want that. But I think it provides an interesting basis, because then you see where these people are coming from, and then how that transforms into interpretation or just ideas that, and showcases this relationship between audience analysis and the creators, right? So that's mostly why I'm doing it. A lot of people sometimes don't, but I really admire the people who make this stuff. Notably, Reiko Yoshida, who wrote and script supervises this entire show while making other shows and movies. So, I mean, for me, that's incredible. So I'm definitely, for this part, this will require a lot of research to be done. Maybe not a lot of research, but it'll be interesting to find anything that comes up. Like I know there's like director's commentaries or and stuff like that, and I have liked and watched them to hell and back. And I think it'd be a good idea to review those. But for now, we'll put that on the back burner. Production. And instead, we'll talk about themes and narrative importance. And narrative importance, I'll talk about narrative importance first, because I think themes are fairly obvious. But we'll talk about narrative importance, and it goes into a little bit of roles, right? Like, for example, Miho plays the role of a protagonist, but she's also this, in some ways she's an underdog, and in some areas she's also like, I'm exaggerating a little, but a messiah figure, right? But on the other hand, narrative importance also outlines what she does to showcase. How do I put this? This is what she does to affect the themes of the show, or like the message it's trying to relay. Not even message, but like meanings, right? Because there is a distinction between themes versus meaning. Themes kind of limit itself to the moral of the story usually, whereas a meaning can go outside of what that is. It talks about society, it talks about religion or culture, or like political aspects, historical aspects of the world. I mean, just to throw in an example, right? To Kill a Mockingbird was about like was pretty much pretty clear on it being about segregation and racism rampant during the time period, as well as the political systems that kind of and the societal systems that are in play that bar people from reaching equality, right? That's putting it lightly, and I haven't read To Kill a Mockingbird in a while, but I don't. That's kind of like a distinction of like meaning and themes kind of definitely go hand in hand, but meanings kind of try to address outside things that aren't exactly within the scope of like the anime. For example, right, in I've talked about the theme in of Girls and Pens, or at least one of them in my first video. How the theme was basically about what was it? What was it? All of life's lessons are condensed in Sun Shadow, right? All, or something along those lines. It was Mika's quote. How, and that is a theme, right? That is a thing that's pretty fairly limited in the story because Sun Shadow doesn't exist outside the story universe or whatever, right? But it's obvious that like Sun Shadow has meaning to these characters. Of course, then when you extend that, it becomes meaning, right? You extend that to the outside world where it's like, yeah, having an art, doing a sport has meaning. And of course that's fairly obvious, but sometimes it's in the obvious messages where you can be like, yeah, you know what? I can appreciate it more. I can learn about it more. I can try to innovate of what it's trying to say, right? Because, and then this goes into my other point in the video I made where Sun Shadow kind of talks about competition and like the ideas of society and why sometimes it's a little harmful and restrictive, and sometimes how breaking the mold can lift up someone and lift up people and lift up society even, right? And I think that's a really telling message for Girls and Panzer, and it's crazy that it even suggests that. Well, maybe not suggest that, but because a lot of things should be suggesting that. But I think I don't know, I find it really touching that a show does that. But in any case, let's keep moving on, right? Then we'll have our last bit, right? Our last bit is going to be the fun, like, oh, which one are you? Which character are you? I think again, it's just fun, and I want to be more involved as a fan, right? I don't want to sit here in my ivory tower just being like, oh, this is what I know about the show. I want to be able to I want to express my love for the show and say, you know what, this is just a fun show as well, and I just love it, and I wanna express the idea of fun that it did when I was watching it. And sometimes it's like simple things, like I don't do these quizzes, right? I don't no one goes out of their way to just like, oh, I'm gonna go on BuzzFeed or whatever, right? And I'm gonna do the quizzes of who I am. No one takes them seriously either. No one should, at least. But I think I don't know, it's just fun, just, oh, let's see, does this quiz make any sense, or does I don't know, I guess it gives you a sense of you tie yourself to these characters in a way that's fun and engaging, that says, you know what, I'm gonna be like Miho today, something like that. Again, it's just fun. I don't want to do anything too big. And I also want to add an interactive element, right? Because I feel like that's what I lacked a little bit in my last video. I talked a lot about just the show itself, which is fine, right? That's what analysis is. But I am haunted by what my brother mentioned when whenever we talk back about this, and it's just that the video is just a little bit boring, and I could see that. I don't agree entirely, but I definitely see where he's coming from, especially when I look at his content or other people's content, especially people like, say, H Bomber Guy, right, who does masterful comedy in his videos while talking about very serious topics. So I don't know, if that would be really cool if I could do that. I'm not a very good comedic writer though, but maybe I'll find a way. So I guess this is the basic idea of it. It looks messy. This is the writing process right here in a nutshell, I think. Super messy. You try to organize things, and then you try to flush it out a little bit. I do recommend doing outlines. Outlines just they save you a lot of time. They save you a lot of effort, and when you run out of ideas, you could always come back to the outline and be okay. This is where I have to go. When it comes to this, now an outline is never necessary, but it does help keep people on track, and that's, as a writer, I found that to be one of the hardest things. Every time I do writing without an outline, it just it just sucks, man. Because I get like really energetic as I go forward, but then it just like completely falls off afterwards, and I have no idea where to like go from there. So it's again, outlines are important for guiding you. It does have the caveat of restricting like innovative ideas if you don't make it flexible enough. So that is something to worry about. But I think this is fairly flexible, and it adds to a level of fun and fun of writing, I should say. So the introduction. Let's go straight into it, right? We'll talk about themes later. I know I skipped out on it. I'm still trying to work on it just a little bit, but let's just go into the introduction, right? How do we introduce this topic of Girls and Panzer again, as well as specifically narrow it to anglerfish? Let's look at what I had last time, actually, and I think I can find some inspiration there, right? So this is what I had last time. I'll copy and paste it, and then I'm gonna read it out. Actually, yeah, I'll copy the whole thing and then remove it. Because it is a little interesting, I think. So this is what this is. So it goes, alright, you asked for it, my Girls of Panzer analysis series, where I'll be talking about the characters, schools, and the cool things the show does with them, in both narrative and production senses. I could change this up a little so that it's no less rambly, but I think, yeah, that's one way to draw it in. And it also like goes, you asked for it, and then people think, okay, ask for what, right? When did you ask for this? And then they go back into the video. So maybe that, again, writing is a little manipulative sometimes, and and it should be, right? Because it's trying to relay an idea that the author wants. Sometimes you want to be objective, sometimes you want to be subjective, but sometimes you want to tread the line. And you know, again, it's the fun of writing, I think, creatively, especially when you've mastered the language, and I guess it's combining that with speaking, right? But let's see. I'm actually really excited for the series, true. But I want to really that this is a studio, not a channel, so these will come slow and whenever I'm motivated to do so. Sounds about right. It took me this long to get some semblance of ideas of how I want to do my next videos. So there's that. Let's see. Now that sounds bad, and yeah, it'll be a relatively low priority, but remember, this is my favorite show of all time. I'm always motivated to talk about how cool this show is with people and the people that love this masterpiece of an anime. I'm thinking, I wonder if I want to go for the clickbait title, right? Where it's like, Girls on Panzer is genius, and here's why, right? That's like a classic H-Bomber Guy title, and I think for other YouTubers as well. I might try I think I'll keep with Lighting the Way, though. I like the idea of what it's trying to do. It's trying to be a little gentle about it. And I might say that for like maybe a huge finale, right? Maybe after all the movies come out, which will be a sad day, because then there will be no more Girls and Panzer things. But I love the show too much to see it not end, right? And who knows? Ribbon Warrior might come out. I have a feeling it will. Maybe even like Little Army, which are the spin-off mangas, and manga you definitely need to check out because they are awesome, and I might use them on occasion because, again, they expand on the world in a way that is insane. In a good way, of course. I'm still reading and rereading comments on the first Girls on Panzer video to this day, true. Even comments I disagree with, because it's so interesting to see different perspective, limited sightlines, or the vast experiences we connect to with this anime. And yeah, I agree with. I think that's a good thing to put in for my intro, because I don't know. I think it sometimes I feel like YouTubers don't look at their comments, and in reality they do. They definitely do, and Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's emphasis enough, but that's of course that's me talking about like parasocially, right? You know, oh, I want to see my favorite YouTuber, know that he's looking at my comments, right? And sometimes they probably don't read all of them, but for me, I definitely like reading all of them, even the bad ones sometimes, because again, they're just really they showcase the anime in a way that I don't know showcases its relationship with a lot of different people. So of course I'm gonna make more videos, and I'm here to make that promise. I'm really bad with writing promises, but I'll try to keep it. For however long it takes, I'll pick Girls and Panzer piece by piece and deconstruct how it all works. Yes. Because holy fuck, there's a lot going on in the show. You thought my 1.5 hour script was enough to talk about it? My god, I had to cut out the part where, yeah, I talked about this in the stream. So let's take that cut content, slam a few more rounds of words into it, and start our engines. Starter engines is a little bit of a weird line to put in this. I'll change it out, I think. Because today I'm going to talk about the most important characters in the series, the core soul and beating heart of the show, Miho Shizumi, Hana Isuzu, Saru Takabe, Yukari Akiyama, and Mako Reze. In the first episode of this series, let's talk about anglerfish. And I think that, yeah, that's a pretty good intro. But it keeps going, of course. I'm going to split this video into sections. Finally, I'll do a fun little thing. For now, we got the housekeeping out of the way. Let's dive into it. I have a thing about Miho, interesting. Miho is the character of this anime, and frankly deserved her own video, but perhaps for another time. Maybe in an episode 1.5 or something. Yikes, but yeah, sure. In any case, in the previous Girls of Panzer video, I discussed how Miho is the center of the anime, which makes sense since she's the main character, but not in the way you expect, or more like in the ways you already know but don't understand. That's a fun sentence, I think. It's insulting, but it is funny, I think. This part is a basic review, but Miho represents a... Oh, okay. Now this part is iffy because this isn't the basic rundown of her. I don't think. It goes into her role a little bit, but it also touches on her theme, and I kind of want to her themes, and I kind of want to dissuade from that for now. So that's something I definitely need to change. Unfortunately, I will be having to leave soon. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. Just I had to deal with a little bit of an important issue there, but don't worry. But quickly, I want to address. I will be this is a short stream. I'll actually be leaving fairly soon, maybe in about 10 or 15 minutes, because I have to attend a thing for my little sister. So yeah, if I leave, then if again, I'll be doing more of these streams. Every Wednesday is the plan. Doing a writing stream or some kind of like check-in. Maybe I'll even do it Mondays because actually this is a good time to talk about the schedule. So I'll just write it down. So we have Mondays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So the plan is, like, the basic rundown is that Monday will be a slow day, right? Tuesday will be like a teamwork day or like a tactical day. So I did Ground Branch last time, so if some of my friends are down, or even if like maybe even if viewers want to play along, right? We could do that together. Or other team-based things, right? Maybe Slappy Ball or Apex, or again something that involves teamwork or multiplayer. I think it'll just be a lot of fun, or co-op. Mondays will also be slow, so it's also kind of why I did Ark Survival. It is a little slow, but this also entails things like maybe gacha grinding on Genshin, or more writing, right? Wednesday will be a check-in of sorts, like check-in Wednesdays, just checking in on everyone, seeing how everyone is in the middle of the week. I'll do... So, okay, maybe slow is another way, relaxing is another way. Monday is just, try to chill out and stuff like that. We know it's the beginning of the week. Wednesday is a check-in, but also kind of relaxing. So, where I might do some real life stuff as well if I ever get a decent camera. Probably not for the foreseeable future. It's a little bit of an investment I just don't, I just can't really afford right now. But again, don't worry about my financial situation. I'm fine. Don't worry. I don't want to guilt trip people into into monetizing me or anything. It would be nice to get monetized, especially for the main channel, I should say. But on this stream, this is just here to get a viewer base, get people interested in what I do, and get some practice for actual streaming. Thursday will be Throwback Thursdays was the idea. So this will be like let's plays and playthroughs, right? So maybe I'll play some old games that I really loved back then. So like maybe Grim Fandango or Subnautica or something like that, right? Just something to just throw back, see what's on the shelf, see what's lying around, and just play through. And for Fridays, the idea was originally FPS Fridays, but I'm not a huge FPS game. I'm not too big on first-person shooters all the time, like especially weekly. And not to mention, sometimes this will intertwine with Tuesday. So this will also be like a, in a general sense, like a fun Friday. So like I'll just do fun stuff, like do whatever for me that's fun, I should say. So like maybe I'll play some more Ark, or maybe I'll do some really fun writing, or play a game I really wanted to try out, or which also folds into Thursday, I will say. But that's like the rundown of the schedule. I'll be streaming around 6, sometimes like today it's 6:30, sometimes later, sometimes earlier. I haven't had a consistent schedule, like time for a schedule, I should say, yet, because I get busy all the time with real life stuff. I need help work on the channel. I need to, well, I've got out of college, so I need to get a job before shit hits the fan. again, this is not pressuring or anything. I'll handle it. I'm perfectly capable of being able to do that. So please do not worry about that. I'm fine. And but that's just the reality of the situation right now. Just I have real life stuff, so sometimes I might be streaming, sometimes I might not be, sometimes it'll be later, sometimes it'll be earlier. But this is the schedule I want to maintain. I might swap out Wednesday for Saturdays, because I am a big fan of is it CSP Gray? I need to learn how to pronounce his name properly. Give me a moment. I want to make sure I'm saying his name right. It's a CGP Gray. And he's a YouTuber. He does excellent videos about just random shit, whether it's about like the interstate code, or like why Hexagon is the best shape. But he also had a thing about weekend Wednesdays, and I am curious about that. I want to see how well it works for me, because I know it's an individual thing, depending on how people feel. So I kind of want to try that. I want to try weekend Wednesdays at some point. Maybe not here, maybe not now. I kind of like Wednesday being like the check-in, relaxing day. So we'll have to see about that. But in any case, let's see. Am I missing anything else? Any other housekeeping things I need to handle? Oh, I just looked at chat. Very nice, Monka execute. Okay, you guys, fucking. Let's see. How long has it been since I've been streaming? I kind of want to see that, so I have a good time frame of when to stop, or if I need to keep going just a little bit more, just to fill out the hours, and also just not to, because I haven't really done much. I will say all I've done is make the outline, and I feel like I haven't done too much in the way of writing. I guess it's because I have to speak so much, and I have to explain things and do stuff. And also I get fairly distracted when I'm talking. When I talk, it's or when I'm socializing, I find that my production just goes way down. I prefer to work alone and in solitude, with music just playing in the background, so I could just focus on what I'm doing. That's just the way I work, so sometimes I might just be dead silent. I might have some music playing in the background, and I'll definitely look at chat every now and then. but there'll be days where streams are like that. And I guess it's just an intro of what Wednesdays will try to be like consistently. Is I guess the kind of dealio. We'll do one more thing before we leave then, because again I have to go soon. But first, let's address a few things when it comes to this analysis, right? In terms of themes, which will, yeah, you know what? I think that's a good place to kind of set things straight. For themes, let's go with 3 big ones, right? And we have to talk about what anglerfish is as a whole. So they're definitely like beacons, right? So they're lighting the way. So they're so that's one down already. It's basically this up here. What else is there though? What does anglerfish as a whole kind of represent? Trust, maybe? I think they do explore the idea of friendship really succinctly. One that I think I relate to heavily, and an idea that I think relates definitely more to them than any of the other characters, which makes sense. They are the main characters, so of course they'll focus on that, like GuP, quite a lot. But let's see, anything else? Relationships, maybe? Ooh. Yeah, relationships actually works pretty well, which I guess goes into friendships. So I'll see where this teeters on, but relationships is definitely an interesting one, right? Because we have the families, we have maybe even Sayori looking for a relationship. I feel okay. Here's the thing, right? Sayori, she's not my favorite character, but I feel like she definitely gets sidelined, especially by like by the history fans of the show, right? Because Sayori is kind of like the one who doesn't know what's going on when it comes to like tanks and history and isn't like too excited about them. And she also plays the role of the radio operator, unlike Hannah who does the gun and Reize who does like the driving. Hannah is the radio operator, right? Almost like the optional one, but definitely necessary. And she does like she shines in many areas, and again, I just feel like she gets sidelined, which makes sense. We don't see a lot of her family. She doesn't get much of a story either. So I always found Sayori's character as someone who's really interesting because she doesn't get wrapped up in like family drama or like a sad backstory or anything. She's just kind of she's there. She's a pillar. She's a normal. Like she's the most normal out of everyone. She knows how to cook. She knows how to. She's the girl, right? She quote unquote she talks about boys. She goes into cooking and whatever, right? So she's supposed to be like this anchor for not us but for our characters to kind of ground themselves in reality in a sense, right? Where Miho's kind of like maybe tank strictness and her world doesn't have to revolve around tanks. She can always fall back on Sayori and just be, let's hang out at your place. Same thing with Yukari, same thing with Hannah, same thing with Reize, right? I mean, what's it? Reize, Sayori was like one of her only friends when she lost a lot of her family, right? And then Hannah comes from a very rich, kind of wealthy family, a traditional family, so she could just go to Sayori for a casual thing. Reize is, oh no, I already talked about Reize. Yukari is like the nerd, right? But then that kind of melts with like Sayori's normalcy, right? Where it's like, I could be a nerd and that's fine. That's normal. This person accepts me. Someone who is normal accepts me for who I am. So it's like, I feel like I phrased that really badly for some reason. Like I'm trying to say like normal is like the best thing ever. It's not, but it helps. Again, it helps ground our characters in areas where they might feel pressured or kind of sad or kind of look back on things and be a little melancholic about it, right? And Sayori helps make it so that the show feels a lot less like that. Where yeah, definitely it's sad that Reize lost a lot of her family. It's also nice that she can come back to these people and that she'll be fine for the foreseeable future. And This goes into actually another side, a spin-off manga called I think it's like Moto Moto Love Saksen Des, I think is what it's called. And I want to talk about that too because it's like soft canonical, but it's just funny and it showcases a side of the characters that I think is just amazing. But with that said, though, I think we'll end it off here. Thank you all for watching. Um, again, I really never know how to end these off. As much as I would like to know, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out for sure. But for now, that's it from me. Thank you, everyone, and I'll see you for the next stream, and hopefully a video at some point. So, peace out, everyone. Have a good day.